It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Show me the money!
Call now at 615-844-5600.
Oh, righty then.
Now, the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
And a good Friday afternoon to you. And yes, it is time for the McFarland Show. Darren and Justin here with you. Cousin Devlin is alongside. We got a lot of things to cram into in a short amount of time. By the way, just be cognizant of the weather tonight.
Absolutely.
Overnight, Justin, I'll let you've been talking about it for 5 hours today already. But,
just
inform
very
our
quickly,
listeners what I'm talking about.
8:30 till about 2 in the morning is the window for Middle Tennessee. And that goes, if you're in Dixon all the way to Crossville, is when you want to be aware of how the weather is doing. Obviously we'll get updates here throughout the day. The next big update actually comes out right about now. The National Weather Service will put down the next big information update. But we are talking about the potential of tornadoes or perhaps very severe weather, especially to the west of us. Say a little prayer for our friends in Memphis and North Mississippi. They are in the center of the bullseye for the projection as far as damage is concerned. But just be aware. Just be aware.
And speaking of that, Vanderbilt got the sweep baseball of Ole Miss last weekend. They'll get the other Mississippi team, Mississippi State, this weekend. And because of what we're talking about, that game was scheduled to start, 6 o'clock?
6 was
right?
the original time, yeah.
It's been moved up to 4 o'clock. So,
rightfully so.
Yeah, so they've moved up to 4 o'clock, pregame at 3:45. So we'll be out a little bit early because of that, so keep that in mind. The man driving back from New York City, back from the Big Apple, unfortunately, unable to stay there and cover the game tomorrow because Tennessee is gone home. Vince Ferrara, 99.1 The Sports Animal, headed back to Knoxville. In fact, I don't know. Let's find out his progress. Vinny, where are you?
We're somewhere in Pennsylvania. So as you typically say, we head east. Usually if it's east, it's also south, because I always find a way to get myself into the state of Florida. But we are in Antrim Township, Pennsylvania, wherever that is.
I'm sure I don't know. That's somewhere where they probably make candles and churn butter.
I bet they have a really happening downtown that we can find if we look really hard.
Well, if you stop in Hershey, get us some chocolate.
Okay.
Yes,
sir.
Before we get to the Vols game, I do want to tell you, man, you've seen a lot of college basketball in your time. Where did Michigan State, Kansas State rank for you, seeing that up close and personal? That was a hell of a college basketball game.
It was, and I was very lucky to be there and to see it and feel the energy in the building, because it was loud in there and you had bands from both sides. It was really cool. I was talking to buddy of mine, TJ Reeves, who you guys have had on to talk Bucks sideline reporter, and we agreed it's one of the best non-Final Four NCAA tournament games we can remember ever seeing. That's kind of how good it was. I mean, he's a boxing guy. I'm a boxing guy. You covered the fight sports. You talked about it, Darren. It was one of those, I don't want to say heavyweight bouts, because some of the lighter weight classes can deliver the fireworks that those two were, but they were standing and trading and just exchanging blows and then doing those hand signals back to me like, bring it, I'm right here, let's go. And you're trading punches and going back and forth. It was that good. It was high level. I think I was thinking to myself, whoever wins this game, they're going to be America's pick to go to the Final Four in the Elite Eight. They were both playing that well. I can't remember a game where two teams shot at a higher percentage, including from three. Like, I think Michigan State shot like 52% from three, and Kansas State like 46, and then from the floor, real high percentage. Just it was something else to watch those two teams that were really evenly matched.
Yeah, we talked a lot yesterday about the matchup for Tennessee and Florida Atlantic and how that game was going to play out. We talked a lot about how things had shifted for Rick Barnes, where no expectations going into the tournament because of how how they ended down the stretch because of the injury to Ziegler, and then poof, they win 2 games. They're in the Sweet 16. Now they're the favorite, according to the odds makers, to get to the Final Four because of all the action that had already happened. They became the favorites to get out of this pod, and how that was going to play in on Rick Barnes, and just the tag, the legacy. Now it's shifted back to now pressure, right? Now people are saying they're supposed to win when that wasn't there. Overall thoughts on what transpired last night? A game in the first half, it looked like Tennessee was in control, but boy, did it get away from them in the second half with that run by the Owls.
Yeah, and Darren, I was really cautious. I can't tell you how many people told me, boy, that bracket sure has opened up for Tennessee. I'm like, I mean, we've been down this road before. Loyola Chicago in 2018. There's other examples of Tennessee teams thinking that they have a more favorable matchup because of seeding, and then they end up losing. So it doesn't just happen to Tennessee; it's happened to others where it looks like the bracket opens up and it doesn't. So that was a little dangerous to begin with. And then as far as in the game, Tennessee missed opportunities in the first half to really put some distance between themselves and the Owls. They missed a lot of short-range shots that guys, when they make, this team is tough to beat. It provides them with energy on the defensive end. And Tennessee was missing those. And honestly, from when Olivier Kamwa missed his first short-range bunny, it rattled in and out. At that point, I was like, ooh. And, I didn't predict him to just score 6 and then have to rally late. He didn't get his first bucket, so I think 5:22 left of the game, something like that, which is just insanity. But when he is good from the jump, that's when he has his big games. And I had a worry or an unknown if he could duplicate what he did with his career-type 27-point performance against Duke. When those shots aren't falling early, sometimes it goes the other way. We've seen some 0 for 7s from the floor. I think he ended up 2 of 9 in the game with his baskets late. That was not a good early sign. And then other guys were missing short-range shots. Tyreek Key, let me tell you, Tyreek Key, Julian Phillips, those guys could not miss when we saw them at their practice the day before. Those guys were lights out. It didn't translate in the game. Same rhythm, same court, same backdrop, just a different story during the game, even if they were uncontested looks. So they missed an opportunity there. It gave Florida Atlantic juice, and they already had confidence. And then Tennessee's had these lulls, these offensive stretches where they don't score, and that was a big problem. They went the final 3:17 of the first half without a point. So Florida Atlantic wasn't shooting a good percentage. Tennessee was defending them, forcing them to use the shot clock, most of it. But then they're only down 5 points. They're like feeling great. That, hey, our shots are going to start to fall. We can keep putting pressure on them. We're going to get better looks, and this is going to turn around. That's exactly what happened. Tennessee, guys, do you know, from that start of the 3:17 stretch of not scoring in the first half to a Jonas Adu jumper with like 6:10 left to go, 17 minutes and 7 seconds of game time, Tennessee scored 14 points. 17 minutes, they scored 14 points. You do the math to a 40-minute game, you're not beating anybody. And so that was one of the worst that I can remember seeing in terms of lack of offense. And then when Florida Atlantic took the lead, that was another level of red alert. With 1 point, much less when it got to 7, that felt like 17. Because when Tennessee's offense is struggling, they don't just flip a switch and then just go berserk. It's the next game or down the road where they can explode and get better. It usually doesn't happen within a game. So, yeah, the warning signs were there early from that game.
And Conwell, coming off that huge game against Duke, could not duplicate it, the next game. Just his struggle. He struggled as well. I mean, I know a lot of people struggle, but he struggled to make shots as well last night.
He did. The seniors, all the 5 seniors were a combined 15 of 40 from the floor yesterday. So that was really tough. I don't know how many of those guys are coming back. I suspect a couple will and a couple won't. Tyree Key is the only one that doesn't have eligibility, so maybe they split it down the middle. We'll find out. None of those guys alluded to any decisions or anything in the postgame, although I kind of felt like Olivier might have been talking kind of past tense, but he didn't proclaim anything, so that might just be an educated guess on my part. But, yeah, that's the story. That's his story for this year. That's the story of the team, the up and down. And everyone declared or expected it to be that's the new Tennessee that beat Duke. And I felt like that'd be great if they had figured it out and moved forward, but they haven't done it yet. I got to see them string it together before I'm all in because of the track record. Even before Zakai Ziegler, this team was very inconsistent. So Olivier was a part of that. When he had his first 27-point performance against Texas, he followed up with 11 in the loss at Florida. And there's plenty of guys on this team that had a double-digit scoring game and then went way down the next game. Just a lot of issues. I'll tell you this though, all these guys are connected. The fact that Olivier can't get off offensively, that impacts the guards. Now the guards have it much more difficult, and they can't have space. That's why you see Vescovi shooting like Steph Curry, those really long threes, and sometimes he makes them because he's a fantastic shooter. But that's the only way he's able to create space because they give him so much attention. And then when they are not a threat in the paint, then it makes it so much harder on those guys. And then the other thing is, and Greg Polinsky, assistant coach, told me this, I did a one-on-one with him afterwards, and you can listen to that on our website and our central page at 991thesportsanimal.com. He was fantastic in breaking down the game and the season with me. He said that, in the end, we really needed a dynamic, consistent driver to the basket. And he said Jemai Meshack did it some, or a little, but they just didn't do enough, and they ended up settling for perimeter shots in the second half, and they just weren't a threat either in post points or driving and breaking the defense down. That's exactly what Florida Atlantic did to Tennessee. In the first half, they really couldn't get to the basket that much. In the second half, they did. So now Tennessee, their defense is breaking down to the drive, then they're kicking, then Tennessee is leaping towards three-point shooters. Now suddenly they have 2 guys out of position, move the ball 2 passes, and you're getting wide open threes, and then they started making them. So the drive is something that can benefit you so much. They need a bigger guard that can get all the way to the rim and finish, and that's something they're going to have to address in recruiting because, yes, the guy Ziegler could have helped them a little bit, but they need someone that can create and score over size, and they just don't have that on the roster that has the freedom to do it at least.
Vince, you talked about the fact that you said you need to see them do it to really believe it at some point because they keep getting stuck at certain parts. And I understand what you're saying, but Vince, I'm going to be a little rough here with Tennessee. They've never done it ever. So I mean, this is not just a Rick Barnes thing. They've never done this, which is I'm almost finding hard to believe that they have never been able to win a national championship on any level in men's basketball since 1908. And that's where we really are here. So I don't even know how to think about that because I normally think of things in a football aspect where, the first one since 1950, the first one since 1998, those kinds of things. But when you haven't done it ever at all, I'm not even sure where to go with that. Where is this team historically as a program now?
Well, their deepest run in the NCAA tournament was with Bruce Pearl, and that was to the Elite Eight.
2010, yes, sir.
And Correct. So they haven't even gotten to the Final Four,
No.
much less a national championship. And there have been disappointments. And you're right, it's not just the Rick Barnes era. There were some during Bruce Pearl, but Bruce Pearl also had the peak season, which is the bar. And that's why I think for Barnes' legacy, in order to truly get people off of his back, he needed to get beyond where Bruce Pearl got and get to the Final Four. Right now, Rick Barnes, in his coaching career, I know this is more than just Tennessee, as you asked, Justin, but he's now 27-27 in 27 seasons of the NCAA tournament. So, it is what it is, but Tennessee's had their struggles as well. I don't know.
Vince, Tennessee is 25-26 in the NCAA tournament. 25-26. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I don't have an answer, Justin, as to why that is, but it should. To me, it's about talent, and Tennessee just had their flaws show up for this year's team. It's not bracket opening up or anything like that. It's you got to have right players, and then you got to react the right way. Rick Barnes said he thought that some guys that they weren't as locked in as they needed to be, or they expected them to be in, arguably the biggest game of their lives. So that was, and you look at it, it's probably some players that didn't get a lot of minutes in the game. So there's a lot of factors probably for all those situations.
Yeah. FAU played extremely loose as well. Like as the game goes on, you can almost feel the confidence surging in them. They were taking shots very loosely. I mean, you could tell they were playing with house money almost all night.
Yes, they were confident from the beginning, and then once they were still in the game at halftime and then went on that run, it wasn't even the whole run. It was the start of the run. They were feeling it, and it definitely looked good at that time for them.
Vince, I know you got to go. Real quick, do you think it's fair criticism for people that are saying Rick Barnes should have called a timeout and tried to slow things down and regroup and reset?
It's not really something he typically does.
Okay.
And Tennessee's had a lot of those runs this year. So, yeah, perhaps. But that's kind of consistent with the way he's done it previously is he lets them go, but then things break down on both ends. They don't score, and they break down defensively. So yeah, maybe you could. I think it's fair to ask on that, but it's the way he has done it before.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, appreciate it as always. I know you're coming back. Safe travels. I know you got to jump on the Sports Animal. We'll talk on Monday, man.
Thanks,
appreciate
Vince.
it.
All right, sounds good. Have a good weekend. Be safe out there with that weather.
You do the same. Vince Ferrara, 99.1, the Sports Animal there in Knoxville, coming back from Madison Square Garden in New York City. The Vols go down last night to Florida Atlantic. Tough one, 62-55. So it'll be FAU and Kansas State. One of those teams will be punching their ticket into the Final Four. We'll take our first break on this Friday afternoon. We're wide open the rest of the hour. If you want to talk with us, 615-844-5600 is how you can get in touch with us as you listen to the McFarland Show on Nashville Sports Radio.
Fun is in full bloom, Tennessee, and the Multiplier Instant Games are buzzing in. These colorful tickets offer chances to multiply your wins 10, 20, 50, and even 100 times. It's a beautiful day for bigger and bigger prizes, and they're ripe for the picking right now. Find the Multiplier Instant Games today at your nearest Tennessee Lottery retailer, only from the Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing fun. Please play responsibly.
This responsible gaming message is brought to you by the Tennessee Lottery. When you play the lottery, it's important to play responsibly. Know your limit and spend only what you can afford. Set a budget and stick to it. And remember, as long as you're having fun, you're always a winner in our book. The Tennessee Lottery is a proud supporter of National Problem Gambling Awareness Month. To learn more about problem gambling resources, visit tnlottery.com.
Bundling home and car insurance with Geico is so easy, your neighbors are probably already doing it. But who? They may drop little hints like,
Beautiful day out. Even more beautiful since we saved by bundling our home and car insurance with Geico.
or
Yard work is hard. Much harder than bundling with Geico, which was easy.
or it may be even subtler, like,
Speaking of burgers, we bundled our home and car insurance with Geico and saved a bunch of money.
bundling is easy with Geico. Just ask your neighbors.
In uncertain times, you can be certain of this. The Salvation Army is serving those most in need with help and hope. Thanks to your donations, the Salvation Army is helping those affected by COVID-19, those who've lost wages, who have no home to retreat to, who need food, help with utilities, and most of all, hope. To see how you can continue to make a difference, visit GiveWestwood.org. GiveWestwood.org.
Hey Nashville, start your day the right way with Bongo Java Cafe, located in the lobby of the Omni Nashville Hotel. Bongo Java is Nashville's oldest local coffee company. Get your day started with a freshly baked muffin and wash it down with a hot cup of dark roast or hair of the dog blend. With free Wi-Fi, you can get some work done while enjoying a toasted breakfast sandwich. Beat the traffic, treat yourself at Bongo Java Cafe, located in the lobby of the Omni Nashville Hotel, 5th Avenue, downtown Music City.
Timeout.
All right. Remember, we're a team that plays together. Listen, the winning will take care of itself. We just have to get everyone involved.
In interscholastic sports, we celebrate what makes every one of us unique. And in the pursuit of a common goal, everyone in the huddle, in the bleachers, and in the community comes together. This message presented by the TSSAA and the Tennessee Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Every weekday afternoon, 2 to 4, live on WNSR Nashville Sports Radio. It's the McFarland Show. It's Darren. It's Justin. It's 50 years of Nashville sports radio coverage.
A show that's genuine, it's real, it's fun, it's passionate.
We welcome your phone calls, and we mean it.
The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin on Nashville Sports Radio WNSR.
The McFarland Show. Video streaming live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube from the Strike and Spare studio.
You can watch us every day, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You'll see Justin in the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. You'll just see my face. I'm in Rutherford
now,
County.
yeah.
I'll be back in there with you, hanging on Monday.
Okay.
Speaking of Rutherford County, we'll head down to Murfreesboro and speak to MTSU men's basketball coach Nick McDevitt to begin the second hour. Justin, there are 3 teams that are still alive and playing basketball.
Yeah.
UAB, right? And North Texas are in the Final Four of the NIT. And FAU has an opportunity to get to the Final Four of the NCAA tournament. And he is very familiar with those teams because they played them this year. And so we'll pick his brain on that coming up at 3 o'clock. 615-844-5600. Speaking of the phone lines, let's go to him. Nate is down in Columbia. Nate, what's up?
What's up, Darren? I requested to have the call screener say, Darren, you were right, but unfortunately you wouldn't have been able to see it.
This is true. Well, I'm glad you called in to say it. But, yeah, I mean, it was a fun game last night. I mean, there was a lot going on, right, between the NCAA tournament, crazy college basketball games, and an exciting Preds game. So there was sports fans got a treat last night in this area.
Oh, no doubt. But yeah, I mean, it was a good game. I really am surprised he didn't score. I truly am.
Well, I will tell you this, Nate. I'm going to give you props because I did pay I paid even more closer attention to the game because of our little on-air bet yesterday. So I was watching things closely when it came to Ellie Tolvanen.
Yeah. But, I see what happened to the Vols last night. I didn't tell you all this before, but I turned down an opportunity to go to Madison Square Garden for my dad, mainly because of Pecorino getting a statue unveiled, and I wanted to be there for the ceremony. And my wife is was it 27 weeks pregnant now. So an afterthought of that, unfortunately, it wasn't the primary thought, which it probably should have been. But in hindsight, I'm glad I'm not in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good news
may not
is,
be the best place to be right now.
Or the bad news, I don't know how you view it. You could have done both now that you know what we all know, right?
You know, I think it would have been probably maybe bad news.
Yeah.
Or part of it. You know, obviously good and bad, but yeah. Yeah, it's a dark day down here in Columbia for me with the Tolman thing, but even though it's sunny outside.
Well, not for long.
Yeah. No, no, it will not be. No. Darren, are you going to try and get down to the statue unveiling tomorrow?
I'm going to try. But no, I'm not. Because we're not. That's right. We're not. Really, it's more Sunday. We've been cleared to reduce to.
Resume,
back to normally scheduled programming, as they would
socialization
say.
activities.
Yeah. So
yeah.
sorry.
Is she feeling all right?
Hit her. Yes, but she still has moments. But yes, much better than earlier in the week. Earlier in the week was a little bit rough, but yeah, much better. But I had a brain cramp. Sorry. No, it's it stinks because I was supposed to tape an interview with Pekka today for the POP, and unfortunately that got squashed. And so, yeah, damn you, COVID. So
for real, that would have been great.
I know.
Well, y'all have a great rest of the day, guys. Y'all stay
Thank you, Nate.
Be vigilant.
Thank you, Nate.
Enjoy it, man. I'm jealous.
Thank you, Nate.
Yeah, I unfortunately I can't. Sunday it can resume normal activities, but
okay.
Yeah, that stinks, man. He's an all-time great, so would definitely I'll be watching, but
sure
won't be able to take part in it, which stinks. But so how do we view this? We had this discussion yesterday, and I didn't really want to bog Vince's limited time down with the Rick Barnes discussion because I feel like we can have that.
Yeah.
But we had a real honest conversation yesterday. And so how do you feel today, knowing what we know now?
Well, I'm not looking at this, and there's a reason why I asked Vince what I asked him about Tennessee as a program, because I'm not looking at this as a Rick Barnes situation, because what I'm saying when I say that is you're judging him against who and what. So has Tennessee reached new ground under Rick Barnes? Well, no. But have they ever been all the way to the promised land ever? Well, no. So
right.
So what are we really talking about here? We're talking about a program that we feel, and this is the key thing, we feel should be better than what it is. But historically, the program has not really been all that good. It's been kind of good, but it's never made the run to be the elite program that I think a lot of us feel it should be. It's had some sustained success here and there. It's had good players. It's had players go on to the NBA. It's had players, go on and do some great things. But it has not shown it in the trophy case. It has not shown it in the prestige. It just isn't there for this program, and it's not there now. And what's bothering me, and I guess I've just never really paused to think about it, it never has been. It never has been there. So I'm still trying to figure out, well, what exactly is Tennessee basketball? What is it? Is it it's just good, but that's about it? It's not great. Is it supposed to be great? It's a football school, but so is Florida, and they've got some chips. So what are we really talking about here with Tennessee? And I don't know. I'm sort of in limbo about it, and I really want to hear other people who have been following the program much longer from their childhood. I can't claim that with Tennessee basketball. I could claim that with some other things. But Tennessee basketball, I don't know, is this as good as they're supposed to be, or are they really supposed to be better than this?
Man, it's a really I'm going to tell you something before we get back to the phones. I had a conversation this morning with somebody, and I thought it was really interesting. I don't think I had ever really thought about it this way, even though we've talked about Rick Barnes for so much over the years, or at least I have, and I know we've talked a lot about it on this show since we've been doing it. But I had a buddy, so I'm not going to take credit for it because I took a step back and I was like, whoa, let me think about this. This is interesting. And I don't know, maybe you won't find it as intriguing as me, but he's a Tennessee fan, and he said, I think that the Rick Barnes feel is probably how Georgia fans felt about Mark Richt.
Yeah, I've seen that going around. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
online. People
I
have
haven't
had
seen
whole
that.
conversations about it. Yeah.
Oh,
I've seen
okay.
it. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. So apparently that's a thing. I have not seen that, but I was like, huh. Now that you say that, it's a pretty good example. I know Georgia had one. In this case, Tennessee has had one Elite Eight. So if they would have won last night, they've had one Elite Eight appearance ever in their program's history, and that was Bruce Pearl, 2010. Never a Final Four, never a national championship game, never a national championship, as we know. Georgia did win it in 1980. So you don't have the exact apples-to-apples comparison, right, where you say, well, Georgia never won one before Mark Richt, so why would they have these expectations they're supposed to be winning them now? They did win it in 1980. So I thought that was a pretty interesting comparison.
Yeah. No, I would agree. But again, what do we feel here? To me, I want to try to separate our feelings from what is actually happening with the basketball program. Because we're asking it, I think, to achieve heights that we've never seen it achieve before, ever, at any point. World War I, World War II, Vietnam. At no point in history has Tennessee basketball been champions of anything other than their conference. And, and that's not, it sounds like that's mean or throwing rocks, but that's just what it is. And I'm not really sure if we should just applaud and say, this was a good season for Tennessee. They got to the Sweet 16. That's better than they normally do historically, or about right to what they do historically. So, are we trying to raise the expectations here that at some point we really feel like Tennessee is supposed to be not just a Final Four team, but a national championship level basketball team? And I don't know. I really don't. I do not know what Tennessee is supposed to be. And if Tennessee is supposed to be what they are, what we saw last night, or what we have seen, a Sweet 16 team, then this is what it is. This is the football equivalent of going to a nice bowl game. And they went to the Champs Sports Bowl or the Gator Bowl or whatever it is, and they had a good season. They were 8-4, and it was nice. And now we're moving on.
Yeah, let's go to Tony. Tony, what's up?
Gentlemen, y'all are touching all over what I was going to say. First of all, Darren, I want to say this to you. You went out there yesterday making a prediction that there'd be an overtime game.
Mm-hmm.
Right on it, buddy.
Nailed it.
I did.
Good job.
I did. Thank you.
Good job. I thought about you when I saw that. Guys, I got 2 or 3 little quick stories here that I want to touch on, but just touching on the UT thing. I was with some UT people last night watching the game, and I'm going to tell you what they said. They said they were so – it's hard for me to hear them say this when I know Vanderbilt can't even get into the NCAA tournament. We're trying to get that. But they said they're tired of getting to the baseball back in the spring. Super team, everything, failed. Football was right there on the verge of getting in the playoffs, failed. Basketball, right there. Everybody started feeling good about it all over again, failed. They said they're getting tired of being at the door, but can't kick it in. And, I've started listening to them, and that's what I'm hearing from the UT fans. As I told the UT fans, my buddies, I said, well, we just want to get to the door. That's the way I told them. Guys,
I see what you did there.
night,
Vandy just wants to get to the door. That's good.
we
I
just
like
want
that,
to
Tony.
get to the door at least, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
We want to get on the front porch. Y'all probably didn't see this. You ready for this one? Last night in the women's NIT, at the handshake at the conclusion of the Memphis Bowling Green game, Y'all know where I'm going? Have y'all seen it?
I have not seen it.
No.
One girl starts encountering another girl, a girl on Memphis, the leading scorer of the game, a senior, starts having words with a Bowling Green girl. Well, they were guards, and apparently it's been tough during the game. Some words were exchanged during the handshake. She sucker punched her and decked her.
Okay, well, I've seen stuff on Twitter. I think charges have been brought up, and I didn't know what the heck people were talking about.
The police, right?
Jeez.
There were some words exchanged, and the Memphis girl, the guard, she just flat decked her. Her name was Janari Schultz, and she just decked this girl, sucker punched her, and laid her. She didn't lay her out, but she put her to the ground. And so they've got these charges. They're going to do something with this girl. So I didn't know if y'all had seen that or not. So
no, I'd seen something on Twitter about charges and around a Memphis Bowling Green game. I didn't know what the heck they were talking about. So
yeah, well, there
thanks
you go.
for bringing that to light.
Okay.
And other startling news, not startling, but surprising news. I saw where Will Healy has now been hired at Gus Malzane's at Central Florida as their chief football analyst and reporting and advisor, that he'll be reporting to Gus Malzane. And so I thought that was an interesting hire that he's gone that route. And also down there at Central Florida, they had a guy that was in some similar role with football operations, and he's they've created a new job down there, and it's for the NIL. They call it a collective director or something for the NIL. And the person who this is a guy named S.J. Toohey. Do y'all recall that name?
Somebody related to Sean Toohey?
Michael Orr's little brother.
Okay.
Yeah, and he is now the director of this collective NIL deal at UCF also. So I thought, wow, that's interesting to know, what role he played in all that, and now here he is in the football operations. But I thought that was interesting. Will Healy has been picked up and hired on UCF's team. Darren, do you know who Will Healy's grandfather is? I believe it's grandfather.
I do not.
The great Chip Healy that played at Vanderbilt years ago.
Oh, okay. I should have known that.
I didn't know if y'all knew that.
Yeah.
So, guys, last night was something else. It was a heck of a game. It's going to be a great Final Four, whoever gets in there. But I thought in the second half, just my observations, I just thought Florida Atlantic come out of the locker room and took the fight to Tennessee, hit them in the mouth, and they didn't respond to it. That's what I saw. So, anyway, that was my deal. But like I told my buddies and them last night, be happy where you're at, but I know you want more, but, you're there. They were there. So, but interesting take. And, Justin, I'm going to leave this question with y'all.
Yes, sir.
You asked me this question yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Did I think Vanderbilt's season was a failure or above average, or was it a good season, successful season, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to let y'all discuss, do y'all think Tennessee's season was a successful season or not? Being they got the number 2 in the nation, fell off, and then come back. And I'm going to let y'all talk about that. Have a great weekend, guys.
All right, thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
All right, we'll come back. We'll discuss that and a lot more on the other side here on the McFarland Show, WNSR.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/joy. That's forhims.com/joy for your free online visit. forhims.com/JOY.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-785-9132. That's 800-785-9132. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-785-9132.
There's a weekend in July where the baseball world revolves around a village in upstate New York. Baseball Hall of Fame induction weekend in Cooperstown is an unforgettable experience filled with family-friendly activities and priceless moments. Make your plans today for July 21st through the 24th for the induction of Fred McGriff and Scott Rowland as the class of 2023. Visit baseballhall.org today for the entire schedule. See you in Cooperstown, where the journey becomes legend.
5-state forecast.
Your exclusive National Sports Radio WNSR Sky Scan forecast. Today's going to be mostly cloudy with a stray afternoon shower or thunderstorm, the high 80. Variably cloudy and windy, widespread showers and in spots of thunderstorm tonight, below 60. Winds will be gusting to 35 miles per hour. Utilizing the resources of the WeatherBug Network on National Sports Radio, I'm WNSR's meteorologist, Jim Rinaldi.
Sports Radio WNSR.
It's the afternoon stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
Reality is starting to set in. The Titans are in a bad way. We've been saying this, and people thought it was just crazy. Derrick Henry and the future, and Titans do no wrong, and Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year. No, the Tennessee Titans have problems. They have holes. They have money issues, and they can't fix it overnight, and they won't fix it this season.
The afternoon stretch. Afternoon stretch with Zach Williams and Bruno Reagan.
You're listening to The McFarland Show live on WNSR Nashville Sports Radio.
Looks like the Patriots are out on DeAndre Hopkins, but they may be very much in on trying to get Jerry Jeudy.
Okay.
It's like the the Carolina Panthers are signing DJ Shark to a one-year deal.
Yes.
He's starting to become a journeyman.
What this all says to me is the Titans are going to draft multiple wide receivers. They're going to have to.
Right, because the wide receiver market is closing up.
Which is what I've been, well, first of all, it was thin to begin with.
Yes.
Which is what I've been saying for, as Darren, as you all know, for months now, I've been saying this, that I felt like the Titans had to go wide receiver in the draft because the wide receiver market was so thin. And, I understand they need offensive line help. We all understand that. There's no secret about that. I'm just saying, you're going to get a guy who can protect, and they're going to be throwing to Nick Westbrook-Akina because there's not going to be any help. And they're going to hope maybe Phillips comes back and somebody. The wide receiver room is thin for them. And if they're not going to go out and make a play for one of the veterans out here in the market, and we keep hearing more and more names drop off the board, that says to me that either they're trying for these guys, they just don't have the money to pay them, or they're really just going to go with the youth movement in the wide receiver room, which is fine. But, they're running out of options every day.
Well, to me, it's starting to feel like, although you could make this case as soon as I say this, you'll be like, yeah, but what about the offensive line? Yeah, but what about, you could play that game.
Sure.
It just feels like, there's a chance, I think, that they're going to use the 11th pick on a wide receiver.
Well, they've signed at least 2 free agent offensive linemen. and they need more. And they need, yes, I know, they need more. But they haven't added any wide receiver depth. As a matter of fact, they're -1 on the wide receiver compared to where they were, last year. They lost Robert Woods, and they've re-signed Nick Westbrook-Akina. This is, other than that, the guys are off the board. So, listen, if we're talking about it, certainly Rand Carthen is thinking about it, and, they'll have to make a decision coming up here. The draft is a month from Monday.
Yeah. I was just looking at, by the way, I was looking at when Tony was wrapping up that call, I was looking at the scrum, or should I say punch, I guess is the better way to put it, the sucker punch from the Memphis player to the young lady from Bowling Green.
She has quick hands, because I almost didn't see it.
Well, I watched it,
but you see her hit the floor, though. You see the aftermath.
Yeah, and then they do a little bit closer shot, and then you can see it.
Okay, I haven't seen the closer shot yet. Then okay.
Yeah, but so that was interesting. But I was looking at, they've released, the NFL just put out there in the last less than 30 minutes, the last 20, 25 minutes, they put out basically, some timetables for OTAs and stuff like that. So the Titans will have, first day will be April 17th. OTA off-season workouts will be May 22nd and 23rd.
Okay.
May 25th, May 30th and 31st, June 2nd, and then June 12th through the 15th. And then the mandatory mini camp will be June 6th through the 8th. Obviously, all that will be after the draft. But, they got a lot of work to do, and I don't know where this is going. Obviously, there are a lot of pro days going on. Kentucky and Will Levis had his today. You had Ohio State have theirs. I know the Titans have been making their rounds, and Alabama had theirs as well. So all these quarterbacks on display, and a lot of wide receivers.
Yeah.
And so you do wonder if they will address it. I do feel pretty confident now that we're having this discussion out loud, and I know we've got, a little bit over a month until the NFL draft. I do feel pretty confident in saying it is going to be either a wide receiver or an offensive lineman. That I feel pretty good about. Do you agree or disagree?
No, I felt like that all along. I have felt like that since since before the end of the season. I have felt like that. But I'm leaning more and more towards the wide receiver, especially since what we have seen out of the offseason activity. I mean, I've looked at the list a long time. It just wasn't there. Unless you were going to make the major trade for the wide receiver, and then we're going to give up the capital. And to be honest, they can't give up the capital for a wide receiver. They need too many other things to give up draft capital for a wide receiver, to move up to get, whomever you're thinking about. So either they're going to wait for one of the midseason cuts here, which we know are coming. There are going to be more wide receivers available. I saw the rumors today that Corey Davis could be available yet again after the latest moves by the Jets. So, I mean, more guys are going to become available for the Titans. But, so far they either have not liked what they've seen, or they haven't been able to convince those guys that this is the right move to come to Nashville.
All right, we'll step away for the final time, come back, wrap up the first hour. Clay, we'll get to you on the other side as you listen to the McFarland Show, WNSR.
Golfers, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new arrivals from Titleist. Check out the new Pro V1 golf balls, designed for longer distance, more consistency, and unrivaled control. Swing by Edwin Watts Golf Shops and elevate your game with the new TSR Woods, engineered faster, longer, and straighter. Come in and get custom fit for free today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, unmatched service, unmatched expertise.
Are you tired of your current vehicle? Maybe looking for a new or pre-owned vehicle? Hey guys, it's Zach. Hayes Nissan of Rivergate is the best choice for your vehicle needs. Located at 1550 Gallatin Pike North in Madison, Hayes Nissan of Rivergate has been serving the Middle Tennessee community for over 3 decades. That gives you confidence that Hayes Nissan of Rivergate can find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and your budget. Their friendly and knowledgeable staff will make sure you are taken care of. I should know because I've seen it firsthand. Every vehicle I've purchased has been from Hayes Nissan of Rivergate, and I love the entire process. Now, I don't want you to forget about their award-winning parts and service department. It has everything you need to get you back on the road. Go visit them on the web at nissanofrivergate.com. They're open there 24/7, 365 days a year. Or give them a call at 615-865-7220. Again, that number is 615-865-7220. That's Hayes Nissan of Rivergate, where your dollar always goes farther.
I'm here at the Big Game headquarters. Total Wine and More, scoring huge savings on the perfect bourbon. Local craft beer.
Forgetting something?
Oh yeah, Cabernet, seltzers, and so many low prices.
Valentine's Day is right after.
Whoa, new game plan.
You got this. Total Wine can help you score the perfect bubbly, too.
Thank you, I would have been so...
You sure would have.
Your Big Game headquarters. Love what you find, always at the lowest price. Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Milk, eggs, $42. Ma'am, you okay?
Need bucks? With Jackson Hewitt, don't wait weeks for the IRS to send your tax refund. Come in now for up to $3,500 with a no-interest, no-fee refund advance loan when you file your taxes. That's up to $3,500 today. Don't let high prices get you down. When every dollar matters, it matters who does your taxes. So get to Jackson Hewitt today. For eligible clients, loans by Republic Bank and Trust Company. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Grizz Nation. Make some big Memphis noise and don't miss Jaron, Desmond, and your Grizzlies Friday at 7 as they battle the Rockets for Grizzlies Scholars Night, presented by Ford and your Mid-South Ford dealers. Get hyped, get ready for a star-studded show, and secure your tickets by calling 901-888-HOOP or online at Grizzlies.com. From Middle Tennessee's home for the Memphis Grizzlies, Nashville Sports Radio.
Jim Rome is here weekdays 11 to 2 on Nashville Sports Radio, WNSR.
Give the show a couple of weeks. You're not going to like it. Nobody likes this show the first time they heard it. My wife hated the show. I married her. Give it 2 weeks. If after 2 weeks you can honestly say to me, you know what? I listened to every day for 2 weeks, and the truth is, I hate you more now than I did the first day. Then I'm going to be man enough to say to you, you know what? You probably aren't that smart.
Jim Rome, 11 to 2 on Nashville's original sports radio, WNSR.
Over 50 years of Nashville sports coverage. The McFarland Show. Wow, you guys are old.
615-844-5600. Nick McDevitt will join us to begin the second hour of the program. MTSU men's basketball coach. Looking forward to talking to him coming up at the top of the hour. Back to the phones. Let's go to Clay. Clay, you're up next. Welcome in.
Boys, this is going to be my first public comment since Vandy lost Wednesday night. I have not called Greg's show or y'all's show. Took the loss pretty hard. But I wanted you guys' opinion. As I watched that basketball game, Vandy just looked lethargic. They looked slow. They looked, and I just, sat there thinking, just all the injuries, the run, the ups and downs of the season, the disappointment of not making the NCAA, which they should have. And I know how bad these kids wanted to showcase their team in the NCAA tournament. It just wasn't their night. 33% shooting overall as a team and 1 for 6 from the free throw line. It's just a bad night in Memorial Gym. But I salute this team as a coaching staff for the run they made. It was a heck of a run. They took me on a heck of a ride as a passionate fan who cares about every kid on this team. And I'm just kind of sad it's over, boys.
Yeah, they were fun to watch. They were a lot of fun down the stretch, Clay, to watch. But I think what you said was accurate. It's what we talked about yesterday on the program. It just, UAB was, unfortunately, in the end, just ended up being a little bit better team. looked like they wanted a little bit more. Vanderbilt they couldn't make the shots that they were making down the stretch during this winning streak, and it just unfortunately came to roost. And UAB's a pretty good team. I said yesterday, and I may end up being wrong, but I'm gonna stick by it. I believe UAB will win the NIT. I don't believe I get it. North Texas, and we're going to ask Nick McDevitt about all these teams because he's seen them.
Mhm.
But I don't see anybody beating UAB. I just don't.
And Clay,
they're going to win it.
And Clay, to be fair to Vanderbilt, and we had another caller say something similar yesterday that Vanderbilt looks slow and lethargic. I am giving all the credit for that to UAB because they are really fast. I really don't think Vanderbilt was playing any slower. I think UAB plays in fast forward. And so it makes everybody around them look slow in comparison.
Yeah, but, the positive takeaway, really, boys, that I take away from this season is, the run, 22 wins, to go from 10 and 12 to 22 and 15, pretty impressive. But Memorial Gym is coming back. The crowds were great down the stretch, and I think Vanderbilt's going to be very, very good next year. Thanks, guys. Great stuff.
All right. Thank you, Clay. We said yesterday, look, year 5 has got to be NCAA tournament for Vanderbilt and Jerry Stackhouse. It just does. It's time, especially when you end like this season, Justin.
It is absolutely time, and I think the fans will be ready for it next year. I think the expectations are going to go a little higher. And we'll see if they can bring in, as Darren says, some dudes coming up here this offseason. Coming up in our 3 o'clock hour, the head coach at MTSU. This is the McFarland Show, Nashville Sports Radio, WNSR.
On air and online, Sports Radio WNSR, Brentwood, Nashville.
ABC News, I'm Rena Roy. President Biden addressing members of Canada's parliament today, the second day of his visit there, talking about the nation's united values.
Americans and Canadians are two people, two countries, in my view, sharing one heart.
Both leaders today also detailing a new immigration policy. The U.S. carried out airstrikes in eastern Syria a day after a drone strike killed a U.S. contractor and injured 6 others at a U.S. base. The U.S. saying they attempted an attack today at another installation. ABC's Louis Martinez has more.
This is at a facility known as Green Village, which is in Dar es Salaam province, which is a very oil-rich area. It has a lot of oil wells there. There is a U.S. base there known as Green Village. We know that 8 rockets were fired at the facility earlier today. None of them struck any targets inside the compound, and there were no U.S. injuries as a result. But it's just another reminder that even though the U.S. is undertaking these retaliatory strikes, these groups are maybe going to continue with these kinds of actions.
This is ABC News.
Breaking news.
Tax refund shock is everywhere, but what is it?
My tax refund shrank.
Mine too. The culprit? Pandemic-related stimulus payments and tax credits expiring. In this reporter's opinion, you need a tax expert.
Hey guys, Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest refund.
And tax prep is 50% off? Going there now.
50% off is a limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but how do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage. N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
Clones, what do we want when we're craving protein or we need some more energy? Not bars, not sugary snacks, not energy drinks. What we want is beef, pure and simple. So where's the beef? It's in a package of Old Trapper beef jerky. Old Trapper is not your father's jerky. It's not shriveled, dry, and tasteless. Old Trapper beef jerky is made from lean strips of steak and quality spices that are smoked over a real wood fire. So it's tender and it's tasty. It's not
not tough. And why is it so good? Because Old Trapper is a 50-year-old family business known for their relentless commitment to quality. They take smoked beef extremely seriously, and you can taste it in every single bite. Old Trapper is packed with protein. It comes in 4 great flavors to satisfy all your cravings. Quality smoked meat at its finest that goes with you wherever you go, to the game, to the gym, to the beach. So look for Old Trapper in the Clearview bag. You can see the quality you're buying. Look for it in major retail stores near you. If you don't see it, clones, ask for it by name, because no other jerky compares. Old Trapper, what's your beef?
Listen, you can't handle the truth. It's about to go off. Live from the WNSR Strike and Spare studios.
Just a bit outside.
Now back to the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Show me the money!
Call now at 615-844-5600.
Oh, righty there.
Now the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
Second hour on this Friday afternoon, Darren and Justin here with you. As we said at the beginning of the show, just want you to be aware, maybe you're just tuning in for the first time, be aware and cognizant of the weather later this evening. Probably around, the 8 o'clock hour, Justin?
Yeah, they're saying around 8 p.m. As a matter of fact, the new updates should be coming out here. I just haven't been able to look at it quite yet. But, yeah, around 8 o'clock tonight through 2 a.m. in the morning is the window when the roughest of the weather could be coming here to Nashville. And we're talking about the possibility of a tornado that could be coming to town. So please just stay weather aware, eye to the sky. And they've been making some movement for some of the mid-state games because of that approaching weather.
No. All right, let's head down to Murfreesboro. Let's bring in MTSU men's basketball coach Nick McDevitt. He is on the line with us. Coach, how we doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. Got to ask you right out of the gates because we've obviously talked a lot about Tennessee's loss last night to FAU. Are you surprised by this run? Are you sitting back going, I tried to warn people?
Probably a little bit of both, if I'm being honest. You know, they're a really good team. I mean, anybody that's 34-3. You know that they're really good, and they've been good and consistent all year long. But to get to the Elite Eight, you've not just got to be good; you've got to be a little bit lucky as well. I mean, you've got the draw that you have, the bracket that you're in, who else is winning and losing. You got to be healthy during the games. You got to stay out of foul trouble. So some really good teams are at home watching it. So. You can be good and not get there. So I'm excited for Dusty. He's obviously a really good coach, but he's a great person too. He makes it awfully easy to pull for him and the team.
You know, Coach, we had one of your season ticket holders call in yesterday and warn us. He goes to all your games, and I think you guys got him at your place, right? And then, of course, lost to him in the conference tournament. But he said, hey, for all this, Tennessee love fest and everybody's predicting the Vols to win, you better be really, really cautious. And he just started breaking down the Owls. I thought it was pretty impressive for one of your fans to do that. And it kind of sparked, if your fans are saying that, then let's get you on. You're the coach. You game plan for them. You saw them really up close and personal. So what is it about them? Obviously, they've got the big 7-footer, but they're aggressive. I mean, they took it too. They went on that run with Tennessee, and the Vols were, they weren't able to recover. I think it was an 18-2 run. They just couldn't recover from it.
Yeah, they just, they play a 4-guard lineup around two really good bigs. Obviously, the big 7-footer Goldine is 7'1", and it's a big roller to the basket in their ball screen offense. And then Giancarlo Rosado comes in, plays about 14, 15 minutes as his backup, and he's 6'8", 250, but has great hands. He's a really good passer. So when you got 4 guards in the game at all times that are really good with the ball in their hands, playing off of 2 really big bigs, it just makes them hard to guard. And the thing is, they don't turn it over. They've got 7 guys that shoot between about 33 and 40% from 3. They play a 9-man rotation. Nobody really plays over about 27 or 28 minutes. Nobody really plays under about 13 or 14 that goes in. And everybody that's in the game is a capable shooter, a capable scorer. They don't take ill-advised shots. They don't turn it over a lot. And I really thought that was kind of the difference in the game, and when it shifted was when FAU started taking care of the ball. I thought Tennessee's length was bothering them, particularly early in the game. They were trying to throw over top of defensive pressure, and then once they started kind of making pocket passes and bounce passes and stopped trying to throw over the top, their turnovers went down. They had 12 for the game. Well, 9 of those 12 were in the first 13 minutes of the game. The last 7 minutes of the first half, FAU did not turn the ball over, and in the second half, they had 3 total. And I just thought once they started taking care of the ball, that the game started really shifting. And, Tennessee had a size advantage, and with FAU, they're going to try to spread that size out and try to drive them to get some easies.
Yeah, and it didn't look like they were scared of the physical play by Tennessee, right? I mean, clearly it took Duke by surprise because they wouldn't stop talking about it after their game, but it didn't seem like it, FAU was, that they were up for the challenge, I guess is the best way to put it.
And I didn't think they would be, just because this group isn't just an old group. They're old together. Jalen Gaffney is a transfer from UConn. Outside of Jalen, that 9-man rotation, those guys have been at FAU for a while. And so they've grown up with each other. And so this was their 37th game of the year. They beat Florida earlier in the season. One of their 3 losses was actually against Ole Miss. So as far as like SEC caliber size and athletes and things like that, they've seen that. And so I didn't think that the moment would be too big for them. But on the flip side, you're Madison Square Garden in the Sweet 16, and the guy coaching the other team is Rick Barnes, who's been in those moments a lot. Yeah. One of the best college basketball coaches that there is out there. And so you would wonder, is the stage too big? But I didn't think that, that the fact that they were playing an SEC team would cause them to be rattled.
Interesting. Nick McDevitt on the line with us. Oklahoma State was one of those first 4 teams out of the NCAA tournament, so they were a 1 seed in the NIT. And lo and behold, they went up against a team from your conference in North Texas and lost in OT. North Texas is in the Final 4 of the NIT, another representative of your conference. I mean, you got to be pretty proud. I know you would rather be. I know you'd be wanting to play right now too. I get it, but at least you got 2 representatives from your conference that are in a Final 4 of the NIT, and the other one has a chance to punch their ticket into the Final 4 of the NCAA tournament.
And yet another team in Charlotte won the CBI.
I didn't.
Yeah, Charlotte won the CBI.
Okay.
Rice was in the CBI and went 1-1. We were also invited to the CBI, and unfortunately, just due to multiple injuries on our team, ended up having to turn the invitation down. We went to it last year, got to the finals, lost in overtime against UNC Wilmington in the finals, but we too were invited to postseason play. And we had a couple guys that were banged up, and, we had another in DeAndre Ditchman that actually got hurt in our semifinal game against FAU in about 2 or 3 minutes to go in the game. And we weren't sure that he'd be able to play, and as it turned out, would not have been able to play either the next day or 4 or 5 days later in the CBI. But anyway, you think about the upper half of our league, we got an invitation to it, and the rest of the teams that have played are combined 14-1 in postseason play. So and that was part of what some of FAU's guys were saying last night. It's just the grind of the conference USA season and the play in the league this year really readied them for what they're facing now. It's just, you're going to keep playing good teams this time of year, and we played good teams all year in league play, whether it was Middle or UAB or Charlotte or North Texas, and obviously those guys themselves are really good. They're a really good team.
Coach, we've had multiple Vanderbilt fans call and say that Vanderbilt looked slow and lethargic while on the court against UAB. I've been making the argument, Coach, that UAB is playing at another speed. It's not that Vanderbilt looks slow, it's that UAB plays in fast forward. Now, you are the professional, sir. Is UAB just that much quicker than what the normal eye is used to?
I think so. I think unless you've seen UAB all year long, then that didn't surprise you how athletic they are. I mean, they've got some really quick, high-flying, strong, athletic dudes. They just do. And several of those guys have been in that league. You know, they've got Eric Gaines, who transferred in this year from LSU. Javion Davis transferred in from Mississippi State. KJ Buffin from Ole Miss. Trey Jemison from Clemson. Jordan Walker from Tulane and Seton Hall. Their roster is filled with former P5 conference players, and they've got those kind of bodies. I mean, they are a very physically gifted group, whether it's their speed from baseline to baseline, their ability to play above the rim. They are an athletic bunch. They're not as skilled as a team as FAU is. They're built different. I mean, they get the ball up on the glass and go get it. I mean, they were the best team in our league at rebounding the ball. They got fouled at the highest rate in our league. You know, almost half of their points were coming from the free throw line or offensive rebounds. So they are a very physically gifted group. And we told our team, preparing for for UAB, that if you can't rebound, you can't win. You've got to be able to get some offensive rebounds. But if you can't keep them off the offensive glass, they'll shoot till they make it. They'll just play volleyball up above the rim. So we felt like that was a big key, and we did a good job of that when we were able to beat them here at our place.
Coach, one more thing about, well, not just about them, but about your conference. Are you having to recruit the kind of athletes that obviously to compete? Were you talking about the kind of guys you're talking about with FAU and UAB, the quick athletic types here? Are you looking for bodies to try and combat that, or are you dealing or looking for high IQ basketball players to combat that?
The best thing is to get both.
Yes, sir.
To be able to have
obviously, yes, sir.
To have some big old guys with a lot of size and the smartest players on the planet. But no, you ask a good question. You've got to, if you're undersized, you've got to be special at something else. Either your skill level separates you or your athleticism. You see sometimes the guys in an undersized four-man. Well, usually those guys are extremely skilled in the way they shoot it or their jumping jacks. They can play above the rim. Even though he's 6'4", we can play him at power forward because he's got a 40-inch vertical and plays above the rim anyway. So if you're undersized, you got to be special at something, and that's kind of FAU as a group. I mean, they just really shoot the ball and they don't turn it over. You think about a guy like Jordan Walker, UAB's leading scorer. They list him at 5'10", and he might not be that, but he's got terrific speed, pace, can shoot it from 6-7 feet behind the three-point line. So even though he's small, he's different. You know, if he was 6'3", he'd already be in the NBA. You know, if he was 6'4", that's where he'd already be. He's small, but he's special. And so I think you're always trying to figure out, is this guy's size, even though he's not a great shooter or a great handler, his size and physicality will help us win. Or the opposite, this guy's a little undersized, but he's a great athlete, or he's got great skill. He's got great feet in the post, got good feel for the game. He's only 6'6", coach, but he can score with either hand. He could pass with either hand. He can step out and shoot the three. Yeah, so I think you're always trying to build your team to see, can this guy help us win? But most importantly, can he help us win in our league?
Last for me, Coach, is we've gotten so many teams who have won, who are double-digit teams. And what I mean when I say that, I mean the 12 seed. We've had a 15 seed and a 16 seed all win on opening, or 14 seed, I believe, as well. All win on opening weekend in the same year. Are we just getting closer Are the numbers no longer even a thing? Should we even be paying attention to them anymore when they come out with these seedings?
Well, I do think the seeding matters, but I think the matchup is something that's really big. There are times where, I obviously have been fortunate enough to be a part of that tournament 4 times, and there have been times where I liked our seeding our matchup better with the seed that we got than had we been up a line or two. I wouldn't have liked that seed, that matchup as good as the one that we got. So I think it's a lot about that, but I also just think there's just so much parity now in college basketball. There's so many good players that are playing the game, so many places that we as college coaches can go to find basketball players, overseas, junior college, the transfer portal. There's so many players now out there, not just from 20 years ago, the traditional way of recruiting high school players. The parity, the amount of players that are out there, and two, some of the usual suspects that you see in the tournament, they may have had more roster turnover than anybody. And so now you can face a team that's got a group of veteran players that have been together like an FAU, and although maybe the name on the front of the jersey doesn't jump off at you, and the teams that they're playing, they're at the traditional powers, the blue bloods, if you will. The other team's got a ton of good players too, and they're experienced, and they've been together, and they're old, and you just aren't. You're just not. You're really talented, but you may not be quite as experienced, and together is the team that you're facing. And, when you're not talking about a best of 5 series or a best of 7 series, and you've just got to be the best team that night, that's what I think you'll continue to see on the men's side of college basketball is tournaments like this. And I think it's disappointing when you get beat and you go home, but, man, it's been a lot of fun to watch.
Nick, last thing. It was pretty impressive you ripping off those players for UAB and just talking about where they came from and they transferred in from. And I think that what I was reading on Kansas State, that's exactly how their roster's comprised. I think every one of them is like transfer portal guys. And here they sit, all trying to punch their ticket into the Final Four. The previous offseason, you didn't lose anybody, which was really in today's standards quite impressive because it's just like you can't keep up with the portal. That's not the case this offseason. It looks like you've lost some guys. How do you go about replacing them, something you didn't have to do last offseason? Is it just you dive headfirst into the portal?
Dive headfirst into that, but also look elsewhere as well. We lost 5 guys to the portal, which is actually about the national average. Last year there were just a little over 1,770 transfers in the country, and there's only 363 Division I schools. You're talking about like an average of 4.9 per school. That number will go up this year. I mean, it's already at 930, and the portal's been open a week. So the number I think will be close to about 2,000 in the portal at some point over the next month. And yes, you can replenish your roster that route. And as I mentioned a minute ago, which we are currently doing, looking at junior college players, a couple of high school players. I think what it allows you to do is stay old. You're allowed to, it allows you to play and have experienced players on your roster. And that doesn't mean that you're never going to take high school players, because I think there are some leagues you can afford to be young and still win your league. The talented young guys on your roster are better than perhaps the sophomores, juniors, seniors at some of the other schools in the league. I don't think this league is one of those. If you think about the Power 5 leagues, like if you can have enough experience on your roster to go along with the really talented young guys, well, those talented young guys are going to be one and done, the pros. And if you've got some really experienced good players around them, you can win. That's really hard to do at mid-major basketball is have a one and done on your roster. I don't think this is a league where if what you're counting on over and over are freshmen to help you win your league, that's a tall task. With the transfer portal the way it is, is it allows us and others out there to keep experienced players as your key guys on the floor.
Yeah, really good stuff. Appreciate you coming on. We knew that you could lend some insights into some of these teams that are still playing. Really appreciate the visit. Enjoy the rest of the tournament. I'm sure. Do you watch? I guess it sounds like you have been. You watch to the end. Yeah.
I watch I would try to watch as much as I can. At this point, we're obviously diving into recruiting and watching videos of potential prospects. But when I can, I'm watching the games. I love basketball, but I love college basketball, and so absolutely watching it just like everybody else.
Yeah, it's a great time of year. Coach, really appreciate it. Thanks for doing this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, that is Nick McDevitt, MTSU men's basketball coach. We'll step away. We're wide open the rest of the way until Vanderbilt baseball. They will first pitch at 4 o'clock. That game has been moved to 4 o'clock against Mississippi State because of the impending weather. 615-844-5600. More of the McFarland Show next.
What's your next dream? Paying off your credit card, remodeling your kitchen, exploring the rainforests of Costa Rica? Whatever your dreams, they take some planning. And State Farm agent Austin Hardy is right here in the Middle Tennessee community to lend a hand. As your local good neighbor, he can help you look at the things you want to save for and come up with a plan to make those saving goals happen. Because your money should work just as hard as you to achieve your dream. So whether it's being free of debt or free to roam the world, call State Farm agent Austin Hardy here in the Middle Tennessee community. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Hey guys, it's Zach. Gear up for golf at Play It Again Sports in Brentwood and Hendersonville during their March golf sale. Swing in and stock up on their huge selection of new and gently used golf gear and equipment. During their month-long March golf sale, you save 10% on all gently used golf clubs. They have the trained staff to help you find the perfect set of golf clubs, a golf bag, golf balls, or a travel golf carry bag for the upcoming season. And they will also buy the golf gear you're no longer using. That's right, every day, all day, you can get cash on the spot for your underused golf gear. They also buy baseball, lacrosse, football, soccer, disc golf, plate weight, hockey gear, and the treadmill that is transformed into a clothes hanger. If you have gear you no longer use or doesn't fit, trade it in for either cash or for store credit towards your next purchase. And you can trust me, not only am I a spokesperson, but I'm a customer. You can always find me in the golf section over at the Hendersonville store. Check out Play It Again Sports in Brentwood and Hendersonville. Tell them your friend Zach over here at Nashville Sports Radio sent you. That's Play It Again Sports in Brentwood and Hendersonville.
At Total Wine & More, save big on what you love this month with hundreds of deals. Get up to 35% off over 100 different wines and spirits, including Cabernet, sparkling wine, single barrel bourbon, and so much more. These savings are huge, and even better, they're on top of prices that are already the lowest in town. Deals this good don't last long, so visit Total Wine & More to find yours. Love what you find at the lowest price, only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Attention high school sports fans, are you an armchair official? You know, the parent or fan who constantly yells at the referees and loves to let everyone know just how bad you think they are. Well, if you think you could do better, then get in the game and prove it. It's time for you to suit up and make the calls where they actually count. Every sport in Tennessee needs more officials. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
The Atlanta Braves are back, and this 2023 team is ready for another epic season.
1-1 pitch. There's a deep drive to left center field. This thing is clear for takeoff. Back-to-back home runs, Ozuna and Riley.
Catch the 2023 Atlanta Braves right here on Music City's home for Braves baseball. WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. Give us a call, 615-844-5600. The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
Appreciate Nick McDevitt for joining us. That's a good conversation with him, breaking down.
Lots of insight.
Man,
Loved
tell
it.
you what, I was really impressed with him going through UAB's roster.
Yeah.
And where they came from. I'm
Yeah.
like, man.
Yeah. A lot of Power 5 in there.
No
if you want to call it
doubt.
that. I mean, is it fair to call it Power 5 in basketball? I feel like we've kind of danced around it, and Bill's even made reference to it that, Power 5 is more of a football term. I don't know if we can really use it in college basketball the same way.
Well, it certainly doesn't have the same oomph to it
No.
that college football does, because the reality is in college football, until we see, the little guys getting into the college football playoffs, and maybe that's about to change, Justin, when they go to 12 teams. Maybe we'll start getting those stories, but quite honestly, it's going to be even harder for them, right? I mean, that's
just sounds like more room for the Power 5 guys.
I know.
The second and third place guys in the Power 5 will take up those slots.
Well, and you got to win more than just, in this case, you win 2 games to win it all, and now the little guys got to go through a gauntlet. Win 3 times. I mean, it's just going to be harder. I think it's probably best suited for college football. College basketball, as we've seen, I mean, look around, okay, tonight.
Yeah.
It's San Diego State and Alabama. Just think about it.
Yeah.
San Diego State,
Yeah.
if they can beat Alabama, if they can beat them, and I'm not saying that they're going to.
Sure.
They're in the Elite Eight, San Diego State.
That's not the weird one to me.
I know, but I'm just kind of going through
Yeah.
tonight. Like,
Yeah.
you've got Miami and Houston. You've got Princeton and Creighton.
There we go. What in the world is that?
One of them is going to be in the Elite Eight.
Yes. That is, wow.
Then you've got Xavier in Texas. One of the, and that, so
Yeah,
Xavier. Okay, but the point is, those teams, not Texas, but Xavier,
Yeah.
Creighton, Princeton, San Diego State, have an opportunity to get to a Final Four. We wouldn't be saying that in football. And I know, football is different. Most of these, most of those programs don't even have. I mean, San Diego State does, but I don't even know if Xavier even has a football program. Does and Princeton even have? I mean, I don't even know. They would never be in the college football playoffs.
No.
Is what I'm
Well,
getting at.
that is for sure. No, they would not be.
So it's probably more of a college football term. College basketball, it is amazing. We are not going to have the traditional blue bloods. We always have upsets, but really when you get down to it, when all the dominoes have fallen, we've got the traditional blue bloods standing for the most part, right?
Yes.
In the Final Four.
Yes.
That's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was North Carolina and Kansas. Were there upsets along the way? Heck yeah, there was a lot of upsets.
Yeah.
But in the end, it was North Carolina and Kansas.
Yeah, and by the way, North Carolina beat Duke to get there.
Right.
Yeah.
So this year, man, it is not going to be the traditional blue bloods. We are going to see UConn ripped the snot out of Arkansas last night.
Yeah.
Justin,
Yeah.
I'm just full disclosure. I have really tried to get back on the basketball train this year, and I've watched more college basketball this year than I have in a long time.
Didn't see UConn coming.
And I don't know anything about UConn. I didn't know anything about UConn. The UConn, I get it. Back in the day,
Yeah.
for a long time, they were a powerhouse, college basketball powerhouse. Well, since Calhoun left, and I know right after he left, they did go to the national championship.
Yeah.
I got it.
Kevin Ollie, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, but right. But again, then they've kind of fallen back to, out of sight, out of mind. And so I thought UConn will never go back to where they were, right? Because you could say, well, Kevin Ollie got Jim Calhoun's players to the national championship, and they, then they've been out of sight, out of mind. I'm like, so that's kind of it for UConn, right? Like they're just going to kind of drift off into the abyss. Well, apparently not.
Yeah.
Because this team is really good. Really good.
But you do have some recognizable, guys.
And I don't know anything about them.
Yeah. Oh, no. No, you're right. You don't know anything about them. And there are still a few guys that are floating around out there that you may kind of recognize. But for the most part, when I saw Creighton against Princeton on the scroll a few minutes ago, I just stared at it and almost just – it's not like I didn't know the game wasn't happening. I was very clear. I know that Princeton is taking on Creighton. I saw the matchup. But it wasn't until I saw it on the screen about 30 minutes ago that it became real. Like, wow, that is happening. And somebody's going to win this game and earn the right to go to the Elite Eight out of this game. That is almost just absolutely amazing. It shows you where we are in a college basketball landscape, which brings me full circle back to my original question about Tennessee. So how is it that Creighton or Princeton is going to get to the Elite Eight tonight, but the mighty University of Tennessee is still on the outside looking in on this? How did that happen?
Yeah, it's an interesting – I really do think it's an interesting topic that we won't have time to really we don't have time today to get into. But doesn't mean that next week we can't, because the tournament will still be going on. It's still, relevant to talk college basketball. And, what is really fair? Like, what if they've never been to a Final Four, why would you expect more? I don't know what the right answer is, because you're bringing up a really valid point. Think about all the teams that we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they still playing? Why isn't Tennessee still playing, right? And look, you could say, well, Arkansas. Well, but Arkansas's been to they were just in the Elite Eight last year.
Well, in their history, they've won national championships.
They've won a lot, right? They've won a lot more, right? They've won
national championships.
Yes.
Florida's won national championships.
Correct.
This is not. It's not impossible. It's just hadn't happened for Tennessee. And I understand there's more teams in college basketball, which contributes to some of this. I'm fully aware because not everybody's got to deal with 300 teams like they do in college basketball. But still, you would think that you would found your way down to a Final Four, to a championship here at some point, and it's just never happened for them.
I know people don't believe me because I've been hard on Rick Barnes at Tennessee. I've been critical because, look, you get paid the big bucks. He's one of the highest paid coaches in the country. There are real expectations. You're at Tennessee. You're in the SEC. There should be real expectations. But a lot of people won't believe me when I say this. Like, it over time, I do feel bad because I think he's a really good guy, even though I don't know him personally. I think he's a really good guy. He comes off as a really good guy.
Yeah.
And he's a really good college basketball coach. I don't know why this stuff happens to him. I don't. But we were talking about it yesterday, and you know why we were talking about it. Because the tide shifted. Not the Alabama tide, but the tide shifted to no expectations to back to expectations. Oh, my gosh, now they're supposed to win this game.
Now there's no Purdue. The number one seed is gone. It's cleared the lane. Here comes Tennessee. And
all the times he's been exiting at Tennessee, I've brought this stat up. It's the games they're supposed to win. They're the favorite. They're not going down to, the number one seed. They're losing to teams they're supposed to beat according to the odds makers, according to the seeds. And for whatever reason, Rick Barnes, I don't know why, but it's like I brought that up yesterday because I'm like, oh, boy. And I really did think about Michigan. I can't believe Michigan hasn't called. He called in yesterday. I thought about him last night.
Yeah.
Like, man, he has done this twice on our show.
Yes, he has.
Called in and said, I got a bad feeling about this one.
He saw it.
And yesterday he called in and everybody's picking Tennessee, and he's like, I got a bad feeling about this, man. I'm an MTSU guy, go to all the MTSU games. I've seen Florida Atlantic. You might want to slow your roll a little bit on Tennessee's going to beat FAU. I don't have a great feeling about it. And sure enough, he did the same thing as a Michigan fan. He called in before that TCU game, and I basically laughed. Like, yeah, Michigan, man, you're just a worrywart, man. You got nothing to worry about. Wrong. He was right.
Yeah. Again. He was right again.
Yeah, again. He's like, I got a bad feeling about TCU. And I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Well, start worrying, okay? So, worry about it.
I'm just telling you right now I'm putting it on record.
They got a whole off season to worry about it.
Justin, the next time he calls in and he pulls that, oh, boy, I'm just telling you right now, you bet I'm running straight to the sports book. I'm betting it, man. I am not going to sit here and listen to Michigan call into this show and keep telling us games that are how they're going to play out, and I'm not making money off of it.
Look, that free money right in the mouth. And let it walk right out.
Nailed it.
Oh, yeah.
Nailed it.
No, he's known something that the rest of us didn't quite figure it out. Which brings me back to another point here about what the head coach of MTSU had to say about UAB and about some of these other teams. If you have never seen them before, then it can catch you off guard. He wasn't surprised about what he saw out of UAB or FAU because he's played each one of them twice. So, him watching them is like, yeah, it looks like them. But if you're a fan of one of these other bigger schools, then maybe you haven't bothered looking at UAB or FAU. Then all of a sudden they run on the floor. You go, wow, these guys are – well, actually, no, you're not saying that. You're going, what's the matter with our guys? There's something wrong with our guys. Our guys are not – they're playing small. They're playing slow. Give credit to the other team. The other team is really good. But because we don't see them on a regular basis, they're not on TV, they're not on our feeds, whatever, we don't get the chance to really take them in and recognize who they really are as a basketball team, and it catches a lot of fans flat-footed. Really, there's no way in the world anybody really thought that FAU, besides Michigan, was going to come in here and beat Tennessee or go up there in Madison Square Garden and beat Tennessee. It's just that if you just look at them, they look smaller than Tennessee does on the basketball floor. But that just meant nothing last night. Nothing at all.
I kept saying I think it's going to be tight. I said I had hesitation, but I didn't think they were going to ultimately lose. And of course I did lose my survivor poll. I got put out. And I knew it. I had a weird bad feeling, but you know what? To be honest, if my backup probably would have been UCLA, and I would have lost that too.
Lost that one as well. And good for Gonzaga. Again, I think last night would have been a bigger deal for Gonzaga to lose to them than it would have been for UCLA. UCLA lost one of their best players. Gonzaga is one of these teams that now has expectations. Mm-hmm. They expect to win these games. And so, for them to get to the Elite Eight, it feels normal. It feels more normal than not now for Gonzaga to be this deep into the tournament. So, and they took a last-second bucket to do it, but, that's the tournament sometimes. So, that's where we are with that. But there's more games to come tonight. Should be a lot of fun. And everybody enjoy it, okay? Soak it in, because Darren's been warning me about the drought that is coming. So if you're a sports fan, soak in all the activity coming up here this weekend because, in a few weeks, won't quite have the same feel as we've got this weekend.
No, you may be a little bit thirsty.
Drink it up. Mm-hmm. Drink it up now. Bathe in it. Make sure you get enough. As my father used to say, before you go, make sure you get enough because there's not going to be any more later. So make sure you get enough because once we put it away, that's it.
Not only you coming to us, hopefully to have fun, listen to what we have to say, learn stuff. Let's talk sports. But we're also here to, have you join us on Monday. So we're also going to keep you abreast of anything else going on. One last time tell everybody about the weather tonight and what we should be on high alert about.
So the latest updates from not just the National Weather Service, but also the meteorologists over at Fox 17. From my sources over there. Let's talk about Nashville in particular. The rain or the storm is supposed to get to Nashville around 10:30 to 11 o'clock. Now, that's the city. If you're out in more of the county areas, if you're out to our west, if you call places like Dixon home, Cheatham County, places like that, the storm could get here around 8:30 to 9 and then start pushing into town. 10:30, 11 will be Nashville. Then on the other side of that, Mount Juliet, Rutherford County, all of you guys would be around, midnight or 12:30. So that's kind of where we're looking at. We're still looking at the possibility of tornadoes. Just stay what we call weather aware. Please, just don't take it for granted. We've seen these storms before and the kind of damage they can do. So just please stay weather aware. And because of that, Darren, they're moving games around to make sure that people can remain safe and sound.
Yeah, we'll have Vanderbilt and Mississippi State coming up here today. First pitch at 4 o'clock, pregame starting here in just a couple minutes. It'll be a special day for Pekka Rinne.
Yes.
Tomorrow, Predators will host the Kraken tomorrow at 1 o'clock at Bridgestone Arena after a nice shootout victory over Seattle last night. But what a momentous day it's going to be for number 35, as they're going to do a first at the in the plaza of the Bridgestone Arena. They're going to unveil a statue of a former player, and that has never been done. And so it is going to be a really cool moment tomorrow, because Pekka Rinne will be now immortalized forever in this market. Every time you're in the plaza at Bridgestone Arena, you'll see him.
That is a special thing, and we've talked about it, a little bit earlier in the week, but this is something that we don't do very often in this sports market. I don't think we've really ever done it. There's no statues outside of Nissan Stadium, and there are no statues outside of Bridgestone Arena until tonight. So this is a very unique thing. I was asking if Pekka was worthy of such accolades. Darren is not a statue person, but he says if anybody's worthy, Pekka is worthy. I've come to the conclusion that if one is going to go up over there outside of the stadium, whether it's the Dome Stadium or the outside stadium, I am for a Steve McNair, Eddie George combo statue myself. That's the direction I would go. I cannot put up one without the other. But we'll see what the new stadium brings. There'll be tributes in the new stadium, and I wonder what that's going to look like. I really do. But this is a special moment that we're having as a sports city, that we get to put somebody in an immortal state here as a result of their play.
Yeah, and currently with those 2 points last night, the Predators still 5 points out of that last playoff spot, but they do have 3 games in hand on Winnipeg. Winnipeg has 85 points. The Predators have 80, but Nashville does have 3 games in hand, and those games could end up being critical for them possibly getting into the playoffs.
It's been a great week. Thank you so much for joining us. Darren's out there in Rutherford County. He'll be back in studio with us Monday. Vanderbilt baseball is next.
Vanderbilt baseball is on the air. Welcome to the Mercedes-Benz of Music City pregame show. Mercedes-Benz of Music City, the home of Nashville's retail luxury experience. Coming up, a full